Today we are going to talk about some changes that we are going to do a little bit differently here on our channel. We are also going to talk about river cruising, some things that I think will be handy for you as you consider going on a river cruise. Also, updates with Princess Customer Service, the best way I think to manage that, as well as passports. It is a really big deal to keep your passport with you, but if the unexpected happens and your passport is stolen, what do you do? We're going to talk about that today, so let's go ahead and get started. Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. I just had to double check. It is indeed Thursday. It is August 17th of 2023. And first off, I would like to invite you to please subscribe to our channel. I have a firm belief that we need you all here with us, and that if you'll be here with us every day, you will learn a lot of things that you need to know if you are interested in traveling or going on a cruise, as well as you will share an awful lot with us that we need to know as well, our whole big Let's Go family. Also, if you appreciate my updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? It actually really does help. So let's talk about the changes that we are going to make here on our channel. They're not huge, but if you are new around here and you haven't been with me for a while, every day of the week, Monday through Saturday, I talk about cruising, traveling to do with cruising, and just all of the fun that I think is involved with a cruise and traveling. So many things, destinations, cruise ships, everything in between. So that's what we talk about. But as Gordon and I have traveled, and so many of you have been nice to come along with us, we have taken a lot of video, and we have been trying to figure out the very best way to share that with you. So we have decided to give something new a try. We are going to, every Sunday, the days I don't make a video, we are just going to schedule our videos, and they will just come up on Sundays with a lot of content so that you can see what it is actually like to go to a lot of these places, how our days have been as we have toured places. This Sunday we are going to, Gordon's already scheduled it, we are going to let our content upload from our river cruise. And we include things from the excursions that we had on. If you're new here, we went on Avalon, which is a very nice cruise river company, end of March into the first week of April this year. We had a marvelous time. We went from Passau, Germany over to Budapest, Hungary, and had an extraordinary time. So I want to share that footage with you, and so that you can feel like what it was to come with us on those days. So come with us, but also it'll help you be more well prepared if you're looking at a river cruise like that, or if you're actually going to go to those places, what some of the options are that we enjoyed. We went to Český Krumlov in the Czech Republic. We went and visited the castle. It's like Arnsten, something like that, castle where the Duke Ferdinand, who was assassinated, that started the beginning of World War I, where he is actually buried. It's his family seat there. So many amazing things we got to see. We went to Vienna, had an overnight there, just so much. And so I'm happy to share that with you. And that's what we're going to start doing on Sundays. Depending on how much Gordon can get edited and everything, we are going to start sharing that with you on Sundays. So look forward to that. I don't know if we'll call it Video Sunday. Maybe it'll be Come Along With Us Sunday. How does that sound? But look forward to that. So with that note, let's start off talking about river cruises. There's a lot to say about river cruises, and I know I cannot say it all in one video. So over time we will have more videos, and especially as I get your questions, it's hard to know what everyone is wondering about. But I thought I would give you a guideline to kind of think about a little bit as you're considering maybe if you want to go on a river cruise or not. I wanted to start off by letting you know that there are a lot of river cruise companies in the world, and they sail rivers all over the world. So the ones that I am the very most familiar with are the ones that predominantly do a lot in Europe as well as in the Amazon. So Viking River Cruises, of course, is one of the best river cruise companies. Alma Waterways, Avalon that we just went on at the end of March, Uniworld Boutique Cruises, and then there's also another big player in the game. So let me start off by telling you just a few things about these different cruise lines, just enough to give you a basic outline. But as you look at where you want to go in the world, a lot of times, like an ocean cruise ship cannot get there, but a river cruise often can, and it is an extraordinary way to travel. I would say that there are perks to traveling on a motor coach, on a bus. There are really good things about that, but there are amazing things as well about traveling on a riverboat, and I really do think that it combines the best a lot of the motor coach, because when you get to your everyday, you're in a different place, and there are excursions to choose from. And all of the cruise lines, all of the river boats, they'll have ones that are included in your fare, and then they will have some extra ones that you can choose and pay for if you would like to. When we went in at Avalon at the end of March there, we did both. We did ones that were included, and there were some fantastic ones that we paid for, and they were worth every penny. And so as you look at visiting places, river cruising is really a great way to go. And when you use a river cruise, you can go all over the world with it. Some of the places, I just made a short list here of places you can go. You can go in Europe, Italy, France, of course, is part of Europe, but I think those are big destinations, as well as on the Rhine and the Moselle and on the Danube. Those are some of the biggest destinations. You can leave from Amsterdam and go clear across Europe if that's your goal. There's also, you can go to India, Egypt, Southeast Asia, Portugal, and Spain. That's also part of Europe, of course, but those are big countries as well for riverboat cruising. So and as well as on the Amazon in South America, there are so many options that chances are really good that where you want to go, there is a riverboat if there's a river. There are a lot of really small riverboats. There are some riverboats that you can go on that are not even the kind that people think of as a riverboat. They're more transport, but you can choose those as well to go more out of the way places. A few things you should know. Overall, on your riverboat cruises, they usually have it so that during dinner time and lunchtime, and they have a cocktail hour, so alcoholic beverages and your sodas and everything are included during those time frames. All right. When we were on Avalon, they would have the cocktail hour as they were doing the destination talk, which is how they talked about what we were going to be doing the next day. It was really fun. So during that time, it's included. If you would like to drink outside of those hours, you're going to have to pay extra for it. That's the way they do it. But I think on Uniworld, it is included so that you don't have to pay extra for that. It's just very all-inclusive. So you've got your AMA waterways and Avalon, and there are some little differences between them. So when it comes time to really choose which one you want, you can visit with me or your travel agent. There's Uniworld, which is more like of a boutique cruise line. Everything is very much all-inclusive on that cruise line. And then also, like I said, there's Viking, and a new player in this group, which is so interesting, it's called Riverside Luxury Cruises. That they are the ones who bought the Crystal riverboats. You might remember Crystal, their riverboats. Crystal was known as like the six-star cruise line out of 5 stars on the rivers. They were the cream of the crop, the tip of the top. And then, of course, during COVID, they went out of business. And Riverside is the company that bought those. And so a thing that I do like about Riverside, their cabins are more gracious. They are more well appointed. They're bigger. They have a cruise ship their riverboat called the Mozart. It is twice as wide as most riverboats are. And so the suites, every suite is larger. Even your entry-level suites that are on the bottom level with just a window, I think a window is beautiful. Those are also larger, and every suite has a butler with 24-hour service. You can ask for whatever you want, and they will take care of it for you. You can say, you know what, I know it's 10 o'clock at night, but I would like some hot chocolate and cookies, and they will bring them. Or, you want your breakfast at a certain time, or you get on board and want someone to unpack for you, or you want a dinner, something, they'll take care of it for you. I think that is lovely, and of course you pay for it, but it's really nice to know that someone is offering that. One thing, though, that also goes along with river cruising is Christmas markets. And really, going to Christmas markets on a riverboat, Brenda and I are actually trying to figure out if we can fit one in this year, because it is so magical. For everyone that I know that has ever done that says there's nothing like cruising on the river with all the lights, and then you get to visit these places, and you can do like 3 nights, 4 nights, clear up to 7 nights, or if you want to make it a longer cruise, even longer. There is a lot of flexibility there with Christmas markets, so kind of think about that. And Riverside which is really just trying to build their game. They're brand new, having bought those cruise ships. They have some really great prices for this year. That's part of what's nudging me along. I think, oh, we could go for that much. And so if you're interested in that, let me know and I'll help you with it. But all of the cruise lines do Christmas markets, and they do them all over Europe. You can get them, that are more in France or more in Germany or more, just there's such a wide range of everywhere. I know Alma Waterways has one that goes to like Hungary and like several countries right through there. It's just really interesting to me that there are so many options. So no matter what it is that you want, you can find it. Most of the river cruise lines, they do have like your pre and post packages. If you want to add those on, so for an extra charge, you can stay, do Prague 3 days before your trip, and they will have a hotel for you and take you everywhere and get to see everything, or stay after your cruise and see other things, not just Prague. That was an example. Riverside is working on theirs. They don't have those yet. But a thing about Viking, when you're looking and you're thinking maybe what is the most affordable, one thing that is a really big deal with Viking, two things to know. Number one, they have that fare option, and it usually is much more affordable than you're going to get flights anywhere else. There are hiccups now and again. We've got a Let's Go family member that went to Norway and to hop on a Viking cruise, and they were delayed, and there were hiccups with the flights, but at the same time, you save an awful lot of money, and I honestly like to think that the hiccups happen way less often than smooth flights do. I think it probably is mostly very smooth, so that is a really nice perk, that error. You can get that cheaper. And then also, and the other thing that's important to know about Viking, which they are pretty much alone in, is they require payment almost always a year out. So that's a whole nother thing, okay? Just to be aware of. It's not bad. I'm not saying it's good. It's just what it is. So be aware of that when you do that. And so with that structure, river cruises are very similar to ocean cruises because you're on the water. They're very different in other ways too. I would say the ways that it stood out to me the most at being different, beyond the obvious, like clearly the ship is much smaller. It happened to rain the whole time, that really virtually almost all the time it rained, and we were there in the spring. I expected a lot of rain, and so we really did not use that top deck very much of the riverboat. They have it so that if it's not raining and it's lovely weather, they put seats out there, they put awnings to shade you from the sunshine if it's really sunny. But we loved being up there the night that they did the illumination cruises, they call it, in Budapest, where you sail down the Danube. I'll have Gordon link that video. It is beautiful. It is spectacular. You sail down, you go under the bridges, you see the beautifully lit up buildings, the parliament, everything. It was really a moment in time, and you do it on the top of the ship, and there is nothing blocking your view. You're right there, right with it. It is extraordinary. So to me, that is an extra special thing. Yes, you can do that on a cruise ship, but generally you don't have the same access to the views all the way around with nothing in your way at all. It was just really special, and to sail up and down those rivers there. Also, another thing that I'll comment on is dinner time. As a general rule, you sit down and the dining room is open from 6 to 8, and everybody dines at the same time. You can vary your time a little bit. If it's open from 6 to 8 and you want to go in at 7, you can. It's tighter seating then. You'll kind of have to take what's available for the most part. I think on some of the cruise lines, like on Riverside, you can reserve what table you want, but on a lot of them, you just go sit down, you sit by whoever you happen to be at the table with. A lot of shared dining there. That was a little bit different to me. And then also the way that they run things, it is like when you have an excursion, you just go out and get on the boat. You just take a tag out for what color you want that matches your excursion. You go get on the bus that has that color of thing in the window, and off you go. And the other difference with that is you'll have a tour guide that meets you right at your bus, and they are excellent. They tell you everything that you're going to see until you're going to your location. And then once you get somewhere, then the person who is the specialist for that actual location, they take over. Like when I think of like the Opera House in Budapest, or when we got to the castle, I think the port was Linz for the Arnisten castle, the person who was a specialist there took over. exceptional tour guides. I don't have complaints as a general. We've had a few on Princess that haven't been great, that I didn't leave a good review on and really shouldn't be being a tour guide, but for the most part, they're amazing. And but they're just a level up on the river cruises, really a level up, and just the attention to detail and making sure that your whole experience is fabulous is very much a thing on the river boats. So just wanted to tell you that. Now think of your questions, put them down below, and we'll talk about it again, or you can send me an email if you would like help with that. Okay, now we're going to talk for a minute about, oh wait, I have to tell you this. Okay, this is the other thing to think about with a river cruise, and I really appreciate that this person made this comment. So I follow, clearly a lot of vloggers, and I really enjoy Gary Bembridge's videos. He contains so much information there. And on one of his videos, he just not long ago went on a river cruise there on the Nile in Egypt on Viking. And when you go to Egypt, it's done a little bit differently. We can talk about that another day. I'm looking at Egypt for 2026, if anybody wants to put that on their calendar and think about it. But I really appreciated this gentleman left a comment and said that he went on the riverboat cruise to Egypt, and he noticed, he said, like the very first day they took him in Cairo, they took them to the Egyptian Museum, and they had only scheduled 2 hours there. And when I hear only 2 hours at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, I think like this guy did. He was like, what? There is so much more to see. And so what did he do? Instead of just being dismayed, he told the tour guide, he's like, I'll get back to the ship. And so he stayed 4 more hours and got a cab and went back to the ship. He is traveling on his own. He is a gentleman. He's like, I carried with me like thousands of dollars of camera equipment because he's a photographer. But he said, I felt very safe the whole time. And I think the key really is to stay in busy places and really pay attention. Common sense goes a long way. But I love that he did that. And he said, like when they got to Karnak, as they were going down the river, and you get to all these amazing pyramids and all of the places that you get to see, he's like, everybody from the river cruises seems to arrive by like 9 in the morning, and then they leave by 11:30. And he said that he told him, once again, I'll make my way back to the riverboat, and which I need to look at the map and see what that entails. But he said by noon I had the place to myself. And he said, I loved walking around. And he said they had, of course, security guards there, so he felt safe the whole time. And on top of that, for just a little gratuity, they would give him access to see places. He said he had a phenomenal experience. And so put that in your back pocket. I'm putting that in my back pocket to remember when I go on a river cruise and there is flexibility with the schedule, whether it's to Egypt or somewhere else, I can get myself back. When Gordon and I were in Linz, Austria, we had done an excursion that I want to say, did we end up staying? Maybe we didn't because it was pouring, but we almost did. But we could have easily stayed right there in the middle of the city. And looking back, I wish I had stayed right there in the city and got dinner and taken a taxi back. I probably let the rain deter me a little much there that evening, and just next time I'm going to stay and go to dinner and then get back to the river ship and enjoy some authentic Austrian food there. Our chef on the riverboat that we were on, he was from Hungary, so it was really fun to try some fun dishes. He did dishes every evening that would, I think, please even the pickiest eater, just people that will only eat a very, very narrow range of things. And there's a lot of reasons people are picky, not just because they grew up that way or for their diet. They take care of your diet, though. Don't worry about that. If you have dietary restrictions, they'll make you an amazing dinner or lunch, whatever you need. But anyway, we got to try some Hungarian food as well as some more of your normal fare that I would expect. So wanted to share that with you. Let's talk really quick about what happens to your passport. What happens if you lose your passport. So I have looked at a lot of places, and I follow along a group that is people that are associated with Dream Vacations like I am. And a lady posted that they had been on a river cruise, and then they stopped in Aix-en-Provence and had some lunch and got lazy and left their backpack in the car. Well, even though they were parked in a busy street, someone stole their backpack and all of their luggage. So here is the things that they learned from that experience, as well as some other things that they knew that really helped me, and I hope will help you. One thing is they had in their suitcase an error tag so they could see where their luggage was going. And she's like, I should have thought right then to quickly call the police, because we could see that the suitcase was in a car going to Marseille. And she said, I should have called the police right off. So when you are in In Europe there, instead of dialing 911 for immediate help, you dial 112. So write that down, and you can get help right away. But then once something has been stolen, make sure that you get a police report, because you are going to need that as part of getting a passport that will last you. Their emergency passports, they are only good for a year. They're very limited, and so really you just need it so that you can be able to do what you needed to do and go home. And so you need the police report in order to be able to do that. She said that you also need to be aware of how consulates and embassies work. So when you are in Europe and you're in different places, depending on where you are, there might be a U.S. consulate or there might be an embassy. The consulates generally have to have the passport overnighted from an embassy to them, so you generally cannot go into a consulate and get your passport the same day. They also have very restricted hours of when they will let you come to get a passport, as well as the person who does that is not always in every day of the week. So you might have to wait or call around or look online and figure out where's the best place for you, the best time to be able to get the passport that you need. She said that when they were, she noticed that in Marseille they didn't take walk-in appointments. In Paris they do, and in Rome they do take walk-in appointments, but they're just between like 8 and 9 a.m. in the morning. So they ended up emailing their information in so that they could get the appointment sooner, so that they could get their passport. And so when you think of, so have this in your mind. So they said you need access to your social security card, you need access to your birth certificate. And so I don't know if we should all be traveling with that. Let's talk about that, would you, if any of you would like to share that. But in the very least, have a picture of your social security card and your birth certificate on your phone at the very least, as well as a photo of your passport. So if it gets stolen, you have got the information that you need to be able to do that. Once you get your emergency passport, they don't function like regular passports do. There are some countries that won't even accept them. And so make sure that where you're going to go is going to accept your emergency passport. I did read that the Netherlands is one of the places that doesn't want to accept an emergency passport, but if you're in the airport, like you're flying in and then you're flying back out, like a connecting flight, that you can use it for that. But really look at the ins and outs of where they will accept your emergency passport so that you don't have a problem with that, okay? And to me, it was really the very best reminder to keep my passport on me all the time, or a copy. If you're on a cruise and you leave your passport in your safe, that's great, unless they particularly tell you in that port to take your passport with you. But other than that, I just have like my purse that I carry over me, that I have a hand on all of the time when we walk or whatever we do. Have your passports with you. Don't leave them in the car. Don't put them anywhere funny. And I know we all do things that we look back on and say, oh, why did I ever do that? So I am not dissing at all the person that happened to. That's really an easy thing to happen to us. But it's just such a great reminder to all of us. I am really glad they posted that. Just a really good reminder to keep that with you. And I always, I email myself a copy of our credit cards. I email ourselves a copy of, like I said, the birth certificate, the social security card, a copy of our passport. I email it to me in case my phone gets stolen and I have to access all of that. I can do it through email somewhere. So and all of you, if you would include in the comments if anything has happened to you, how you worked through it, as well as any other ideas you've got to be able to access the information that we need. All right. Just a quick note here in parting about Princess customer service. I noticed that we were talking about it again on our Facebook group not too long ago, and I see it come up very often on other Facebook groups that we follow and in discussions and things. And here's what I would say. Princess has contracted their customer service out, but I do want to say there are some amazing customer service reps at Princess. I am thrilled every time I get one. They are kind, they go out of their way, they really know their stuff. They're amazing. Unfortunately, there are some that are not so good. I don't know if they're new hires and they haven't learned everything yet, or if, I don't know why, but if you talk to someone and you don't think that the answer they are giving you is accurate or not what you would think, you know what, just call back again. I hate to say that because I know sometimes the hold times are long. Yesterday morning and this morning, I felt like I won the lottery because I had to call for someone and the wait times were not bad at all. But I will let you know that if you don't feel good about the answer that they gave you, call back and see if you can get someone better to answer the phone that time. That's the best we've got, okay? But I wanted to let you know how I handled that. And if you have any other ideas for it, put it down below as well. Also, I wanted to tuck in here. I am in the process of figuring out a river cruise in Europe that we would be able to go to Salzburg afterwards and go on the amazing Sound of Music tour. That was one of the highlights of our trip that we took at the, on Avalon, and we did it at the end. We took the train back from Budapest. We went to Vienna, stayed there a day, then we went on to Salzburg. And that Sound of Music, if you love Sound of Music, you're going to love that. And Salzburg is a gem. It is a beautiful city, such a special place. So I'm trying to figure out when to do this. And so right now I'm trying to choose. I think I'm going to either go with AMA Waterways or with Viking. And the reason that I would go with Viking is because of the air perk. And I know that air is such an expensive part of traveling right now, but you do have to pay for it a year out. So that's what's really making me think twice. And so I'm trying to weigh it out, look at pricing. So if any of you have any questions or a vote either way on that, if you would let me know if you are sincerely interested, that would be great. I know it depends on price, and I'll share pricing with that when I figure it out, but wanted your input on that as well. Thank you all for being here with us. I am really looking forward to talking to you all again soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.